everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to an extra video where, as you can see, we're gonna be doing some bullet journaling. I have two here today. I'm not gonna be working on this one because this one is gonna be like my personal bullet journal, but if you guys have seen a few videos on my channel, I am doing my very first reading journal this year, which is so exciting because previously I have done everything in one journal. So literally everything from my goals and my bookshelves, all my bookish stuff. This is from 2023, by the way, to my graphs, my book club picks, books hauled, wish lists, pre-orders, and then of course my actual like monthly spreads that I've gone through. This year, I decided to change it up by doing a personal journal, which is this yellow one, which is the same as this wine-colored one. These are the same brand, both the Leuchtturm 1917 paper 120 GSM, which has been my favorite and has been my choice for the past 3 years now. So we love to see it. I love the thickness of this paper. It doesn't bleed, whatever. It is an A5 if you're at all curious. I love these. They come in wonderful colors. This is the first year that I've seen the yellow though, so that makes me really happy. This is a Leuchtturm, pretty straightforward. Each of the pages is slightly creamy. They're numbered, etc., etc. This has a lot of pages. I don't know how many pages. Let me look. 203 pages, dotted pages, which is really nice for my yearly situation, but that's not what we're here for today. Today we are here for my bookish one, my book journal. I am so excited about this. This bullet journal was from Amazon. It's from Peter Popper Press, and I ended up getting it for like $15, which is great. It is 190 some pages. Oh, I have it here. 196 pages. And I've decided to allocate 135 for my books read. What I have done previously in this planner is just plan out everything because I didn't know how many spreads I was going to be able to have. I didn't know, what was going to be happening. Also, this is my very first journal video, so I apologize if there's any weird shadows because I have a light directly above me and then on all sides. So hopefully this works fine, but yeah, so what I did a couple nights ago, I planned out every single one of my spreads. So we're gonna go through that. And I also counted monthly, as you can see by these little tabbies here, how many pages I can have monthly for my books as I go through, because I wanted to do a like month at a glance kind of a spread for January and every single spread so that I can have like my TBR, my wrap-ups, just like a pretty page, and then from then on I will just do like the actual book journal pages. And my plan is to do a page per book, and or if I read a series to kind of do like a spread for the series so that like they are all together on one page. So it'll give me even more incentive to read more series. But yeah, so it's gonna be like just a typical book journal. I don't know how I'm gonna do each page when I get there, but that's for 2024 me to figure out. 2023 me is going to be just laying out the spreads. So ahead of time, I ended up, of course, doing a lot of math to see like how many pages I could allocate for specific spreads versus pages for my books read. So I decided, because this year I have read 133 books so far, and it is currently the 30th of December. I don't know how many books I'm going to read today and tomorrow, but 133 is a pretty great number. Last year I read 129. So if I kept like around 135 pages for books read, so I decided to, do the math and see how many pages I would have left from just taking out the 135 from the 196, etc., etc. And then I decided to do the 12 monthly spreads, of course, which minus 12 plus 12 because I made them 2-page spreads. Then 49 pages left minus the cover page, which is going to be here. We had 48 pages to look at, and then I think I minus 12 from that over here. I don't know my math. I don't know my math, but we ended up with 36 pages to do different spreads in. Now, coming from my original journal here from this year, I decided to keep my bookshelf spread, but I decided to expand it into 2 pages just to make it breathe a little bit better, because I did really like my bookshelf that I did this year and I almost finished it. I feel like I could probably fill it out more because I have read more than just Empire of Gold off my physical TBR. And I really like the way this looks, but it's so tight and squished in that I decided to make it a little bit more breathable. with 2 pages. So, and I also decided something for that page, which I will talk about when we get there, but I decided to do that. Of course, goals, a book bracket, which I decided to give, I think only 1 page to. I think these little numbers are off. Books read, DNFs, my graphs. I decided to remove one of my graphs because I never really used it, the year in numbers. I decided to do something like that with the monthly spreads that I do in here when I get to those months. Books hauled, of course, pre-orders, and I decided to also include an ABC challenge and also a specific series tracker because, as you guys know, I have way too many series to be including like 91 ongoing series in this book. So I like have a specific series tracker for that. I'm gonna do like a days read kind of pixel tracker, which is gonna be my very first pixel tracker, top 10 almost faves. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here, but this is kind of what I did as I planned it out. And it was a lot of writing on these like half cut sticky notes and placing them in. So we're gonna get to it. So this is going to be my cover page. I'm going to be doing some fun scrapbooky stuff because of course I ordered a bunch of like scrapbooky bits from an Etsy shop, and I have some leftover like wrapping paper from yesterday. Was Friendsmas with my friends, so I figured I might as well bring these in because these are so cute. And I'm honestly like looking at this one, I do have like a bigger page of it to do this with, but I'm thinking I'm gonna make this like the background kind of thing and like build on it for the cover page because it is just so stunning. I cannot. Yeah, I just have a bunch of stuff. I have also a stack of washies here in the corner. Got my coffee, got my pens, and I do have a whole pack of markers here, and I have other ones in this mug here. So we're just gonna get to it. I also have a ruler, but I'm not really one for ruling unless it has to be like a super straight line. That's just who I am. So we're gonna run through it. So we have cover, of course, and then as you can kind of see, I did lay out some of the spreads because I wanted to see how it would look. And so I use these little sticky notes to tell me like what were these 2 spreads. So this is going to be my goals page and this is going to be my days read page. This of course is my bookshelf, which is very exciting. I added a little thing down here, which is what I'm going to be using for my stars, because previously this was the first year, 2023, that I included a like star ranking system for the colors on my bookshelf. I wasn't just coloring them willy-nilly like I was last year, or like 2022. So I decided, why not have the stack of books at the bottom be my key? And then the rest of the books, I believe there's over 100 included. There's over 130 something included because I decided to do something different as well and include every book that I've read on this bookshelf, just because I think it will be very pretty once all finished. Because if I just do my like physical TBR, which is what I've been doing in previous years, it might not be as filled as I want it to be. So this is gonna be my books read in 2024. And then here, this is just gonna be my books read page, which previously has just been a giant list, which probably it will be this year as well, like this, just a giant list of books read in 2023. All of these probably gonna be like that again. I did think about doing a Dutch door type of situation, so I could have like the title across and then have however many pages dedicated and have this little page be a Dutch door, which I'll explain when I get to it. I think I might do that. It might be a little fun. Who knows? Yeah, that's what these pages are for. This is gonna be my DNF spread because this year I DNF'd 15 books and I ran out of space on just one. So I decided, you know what, let's expand it to 2. I don't really know how this is gonna look, but it's gonna look like something. And then of course I have my graphs. I've shrunk the graphs a little bit, but I've also done more space between them. So previously I've done, of course, like 1 star all the way across to DNF for my stars rating, but this time I've decided to include a reread one as well because I love rereading, as you guys know. So I decided to also track how many rereads I do. But this is what it's gonna essentially look like. So every month is gonna have a specific color for the spread. For my genre tracker, my a year in genres, I last year had like every second one kind of be this way. And as you can tell, I read so many fantasy books that I had to start doubling up like that. And I just don't love the way that this looks. So I decided this year to shrink my genres down a little bit. So fantasy is now just fantasy instead of being split into 3 like it was here. It was fantasy, YA fantasy, and middle grade. Because I just don't read enough of YA and middle grade to dedicate their own like things to. So I decided just to consolidate them into regular genres. So we have fantasy, sci-fi, lit fic, thriller, romance, classics, graphic novels, and other, which is always going to be like nonfiction. But yeah, so I've given them 3 spaces so that when I do have to double up on the fantasy one, or perhaps if I end up reading a lot more sci-fi this year, if I have to double up, then there's still a little bit of space in between each of the categories, so it's a little easier for me to read. Here, we're gonna have the books hauled page, which again, probably just gonna be a list. Here is a page that I'm excited about. This is gonna be my pre-order page, but I'm also going to include library books that I have asked for through the library, so that I've requested, or the ones that I've got on hold through the library that have released in specific months. And it's not going to be read like this, it's going to be read like this. So top down like this. We have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. It's going to be read top down like this, which I'm excited about, and I think it looks kind of cool. Here is going to be my book bracket, which you can tell was time. As you can see, book bracket got really messed up. This is all pencil though, so I'll be able to erase it. I think I'm gonna have to just pull my bookish bracket from my previous bullet journal for a guide, because I was trying to figure out how small I could do it. So I might have to use this as a guide for these boxes, but that's fine. Then here I decided to do a top 10. I think throughout the year I'm going to print off the book covers eventually and do that as a top 10. But I feel like this was going to be like an end of the year kind of a spread. It's just here for now. Of course, we have the ABC challenge, which is going to be new this year for me. I decided to lay it out kind of like this, where every letter of the alphabet starting from A going to Z is going to be a book title and then the author. Here is going to be a 24 in 24 kind of situation. I started planning that out on a sticky note, like which books I want to read in 2024, which is great to do as a bingo space, because the 5x5 bingo space leaves you an exact free space in the middle. So I figured that would be kind of a fun little spread to do. And then here I have a 12 books recommended by my friends kind of a spread with each of the covers. Whenever I have access to a printer, I will be getting these printed off, because last night, Friendsmas, I had all my friends pick from my shelves the 12 books that they wanted me to read this year, which is great because it also helps me shrink my TBR. I'm excited to fill this out. And then I decided to do a bookshelf specifically for my rereads as well, because I like to know what I reread and it could be fun to kind of fill out. This is probably going to be a very empty looking bookshelf, but I might as well just put it in there somehow. It'll be pretty anyways. This is going to be my series tracker with a few series that I have already kind of laid out and decided to focus on this year. Many of them, at least. This is going to be just kind of an easy situation, and I've decided to do dots to fill in, and when I actually start doing this spread, I'm going to use black for the ones that I've already read, and then leave the ones open for ones that I need to read this year, and that'll be colorful when I fill them in properly. This is going to be my stats page, so this will probably be left blank for now because this is an end of the year kind of a situation. I'm thinking of doing something along the lines of what I did in my 2023 bullet journal, which is still not finished because I decided to do this stats page, which I can only really fill out on the last day, but it'll be something like this where I do like kind of more circle things and like fill in the stats. It'll be a whole thing, but this is an end of the year spread, so it's just being saved the space right now. Here is where we start January. I'm very excited about each of these spreads and I'm excited to get crafty with it. So I think that's what we're gonna dive into now. But we're gonna go into a time lapse because I don't know how long this is going to take me to ink over and do anything kind of special. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be an interesting time to see what we end up looking at for each of these spreads, but I hope you enjoy this video from here on out. Let's do this. All right, so first up, you can see me here doing a grid spacing. This took me so goddamn long. I hate doing ruler things. They bother me so much, which is why I went at this bookshelf with no rulers. Anyways, this time lapse is going real quick, but this is my favorite page that I did in this entire bullet journal so far. This cover spread, I could not have asked for anything better. I love what I did with it. I love that I took the wrapping paper and used that and then took it into some of the other spreads throughout. And as we go into here, you can see me doing my goals page now and like filling out that previously done pixel one with colors as well. And then here I decided to pick specific colors for the tracking of all my stars, and I immediately messed up. The book's red spread was great and very fun to do. It's my very first Dutch door. I love it so much. I'll explain what a Dutch door is later, probably. And here are my graphs. Really just, I loved doing this and spending the time really taking care of whatever and whichever spreads I was working on. And I'm pretty happy with the way that this entire bullet journal turned out, which is honestly really lovely throughout. And here, of course, you can see that I actually did succeed in doing a book bracket and cleaning up this page that was a mess. And then doing a little bit of a top 10 for my ABC page. It took me a little while to figure out what I was gonna do decoration wise, but I kept it simple, which, you know what, keeping it simple is always the best in my opinion. For the book bingo, I ended up using a picture that had a clown in it, and I ripped the clown's face off because I did not want that in my book journal. I don't need that cursed image there. I really don't. Here we go with the 12 and 12. Very much love that. And I just did a simple like book frame for the rereads page. My series tracker is so fun. I really like how simple it turned out, but it's still like eye-catching and interesting. And there is space if I want to add a couple more series to it as well. All right, friends. So this is what we have after hours and absolutely wrecking my fingers and making a mess of my work table, my 2024 reading journal. So let's do a flip through. I'm actually so happy with so many spreads in here, which is great and rare. This opening spread is my like favorite thing I've ever made ever in a crafting sense like this. I do have a pack of little mini letter and number stamps on their way to me, so I'm gonna save that to do the 2024 here. But otherwise, I am so pleased with this. This is perfect. I love this. I love this cover so much. Anyways, all right, so we have my goals page and then my read every day page. So for my goals page, I might add more. I need to rewatch my bookish wrapped video just to make sure that I wrote down all the goals that I mentioned in that video. This is going to be a pixel tracker. So every day I'm going to fill in if I read anything. I guess I should pick a color for not red. I don't really know what color to pick for not red, or maybe I just leave it blank. I don't know. I'll have to see. But red, I have pink. Finished book, I have this blue. And then these dots all throughout are weekend days. I marked them so that I could see them more clearly, which days are the weekends. But yeah, this finished book thing is whenever I finish a book, I'm going to color that square blue. So I used a little bit of this wrapping paper. This is honestly one of my favorite wrapping papers I've ever come across. I will be using every ounce of whatever I have left in my other bullet journal as well, and my like planner journal when I start that one later. And I really enjoyed the like journal ephemera that I got, which is fantastic. I did have one more package that I didn't open because this is the yellow kind. So I'm going to save this obviously for my yellow bullet journal, and I'll like carry this throughout the themes. And a lot of it is going to be used in the actual like book pages I have as I like make the spreads for the books that I read, because I want to be crafty, as I said earlier in this video. So yeah, so this is my goals, my read every day. This is my bookshelf. I immediately made an error with how far my marker went, and then this one I did the wrong blue, so I had to cover it over, but that's okay. This is gonna be my color key. I think going forward I'm gonna try and find a more aesthetic marker set to do like keys like this for like whatever next journal I have, but I don't mind it being super bright and colorful. I think I just would rather have it a little bit more smooth, but I did change from last year. Key, I ended up doing 5 stars, 4 stars, 4, 3.5 as 2 similar of colors, so that the 2.5 star and 2 stars are the ones that stand out, which, why is the 2.5 and 2 stars standing out, you know? So I tried to like alternate the colors a little better and pick a better color for my 5 stars, just so I know. No, I'm not gonna have a whole ton of these ones, so maybe that's why they stand out, because I don't have a lot of them. But anyways, that's the color coding. I have rereads as well. This is probably gonna have to change because I was using this marker further in on the spreads, on this spread specifically, and it was dying. It was dying as I was doing that, so this one might have to change, but that's okay. It's a really light color. I think in like a wonderful perfect world, I would get my hands on a like sparkly gold pen and do that for rereads, and then just ignore this and mark it as like the rating, and then do like a reread shiny on top. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I just need to find a pen. This is my bookshelves.
I'm quite happy with them. The bookshelf spreads don't really change all that much. I'm excited to start fill this out. That's one thing I always say about doing these book things, book journals, even in my previous book journal spreads. Every time I do them, I just really want to start filling them out. So it makes me want to read so much in the beginning of January, which I am really happy about. So, and I'm excited that I've decided to make this a like fill every book that I read spread. I can actually do that with like library books and audiobooks as well, because then it'll fill it up nice and full all the way through the year in the hundreds of books on the shelves. Then we have my books read in 2024 spread. Very simple. I decided to do the Dutch door, which I think looks great. It's my very first time doing a Dutch door, which is a door that's shorter than the full page. And as I was doing this, I don't know if you can see from where you are, but the numbers smudged like crazy when I was dragging the pen across. But that's what happens. Life, you make mistakes in these bullet journals. But yeah, I think adding in a line of pink every third number kind of just adds a little bit of interest, because from last year's bullet journal, it is just a giant list and it's really hard to make a list aesthetic. And what I decided to do in my 2023 journal is to mark like the rating on the side, but I'm not gonna do that for this one in 2024. I'm just gonna list them, just do a listicle, if you will. But yeah, how do you make a list aesthetic? It's very difficult to do. So just a very light pencil or a pen in the back worked for me. And then here we have my books I did not finish spread, which is just set up as I like it. I have number 1 where I'm going to put the title and then the reason I DNF'd it, and I'll probably put the month over here, and then I'll just keep going with that. This is very similar to what I had in last year's bullet journal, so that's great. And I have 2 pages to do so. Here are my graphs. We have my genre graph and my star rating graph. These are the cleanest I've ever made my graphs ever. I'm very happy with how clean they came out. Then we have my books hauled in 2024. I don't know if you can see across some of these. I've written a more complicated title across like the big marker ones. Like here, books DNF'd is books I did not finish in 2024. And then here it's books read in 2024. Here it's books hauled in 2024. I don't know, it just kind of adds a little bit of dimension to the title and whatever. And I used washi tape across here. All the washi tapes, all the supplies really I have, except for these journaling pages I've gotten from Amazon, including the markers and the journal itself. So if you're looking for any place like that, that's where I went and dug around and found. And the washi tape pack that I had came with all the ones that I used in this video and another entire pack as well, which I am so in love with. I love this green polka dot. If it had gone better with the like star astronaut theme, I would have picked it, but I just wanted a touch of green brought in instead of a full polka dotty theme. Anyways, yes, that's what I did. And I have books acquired and then the date I acquired them. And I added this line because last year's bullet journal was just a list as well, and it got really messy looking. And I noticed last year I started bundling my books acquired. So like I never buy just one book at a time. It's usually 2 or more. So for that, I ended up just writing down like the author names, like the very last names in like a list, and then the date of the list or date of the order, which I'm just going to continue doing. I will probably do last names of authors again, because then it helps me remember what the books are. Because sometimes I would write like an abbreviation of the title and I would sit and stare at it for like 10 minutes when I was doing a haul video and just be like, I have no idea what book this is. So I'm gonna keep it to author names, I think. This spread I am genuinely so happy with. It is the 2024 releases spread, and I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna fill it in with the pre-orders that I had for 2024 that I wrote down in here, and also from my order that I made through the local indie bookshop here. And then I'm also going to go through and write the titles of the books that I requested from the library that have come in from the library. So I'll mark them when they actually are on my holds list, so that I can remember which ones I've gotten through the library, etc., etc. And I will just keep adding throughout the year for each month as I go through. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it looks really good. I put this bar in the middle, and then I put like some washi on the side and some washi on the side. I'm like, that doesn't look very good. But I just kept adding and I think it looks great. So happy with this. Next spreads, I have my book bracket and my top 10. I ended up just going at this with no rulers because I just didn't have the patience for rulers. I find rulers so tricky to work with sometimes. So just freehanding some little boxes and then down to this. And the top 10, of course, is going to be probably something that I fill out as I go through the year. And then the book bracket, oh, I didn't even write the months down, but they're going to be month by month. So January, February, March, April. I should have wrote these length. It's fine. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay. So each month I'm going to pick my favorite book and write it in the book bracket. And then I'm going to pick between the months, and my favorite book of the year will go there. I quite liked the book bracket this year because it made me think in a different way than a top 10 does. So, you know, here we have my ABC book challenge, which I had no idea how I was going to decorate this page. And there's a lot of blank space here, so I might add something throughout the year, but yeah, I kept it simple. Washi tape, colored pencil. I pulled out colored pencils from somewhere because I knew that I wasn't going to find a color that I liked with my markers to do this that was like light enough. 24 and 24 book bingo. I used a bit of the journaling paper. It's a really creepy one with a clown on it. There's two of them in the pack too. This is the one with the clown face. So I removed the clown face because I was just not having it. I don't want a clown on my papers. So I removed the clown and I just had that like little snippet. And then I filled in my 24 and 24 book bingo. And I used books all on my TBR. I don't know whether I'm going to print out little squares of the covers as I finish them, or if I'm just going to color them in. I will decide as I finish. And then the 12 recs from Friends, I'm gonna go through this and write them down. There's a photo on my phone, which I'm currently using to film this on. So I will go through and I will find that and I will add them in. And then as I reread books throughout the year, I will just draw books as I wish for the books reread in 2024. Very simple spreads. That's kind of the name of the game for me. Oh, hold on. I just noticed that this is folded up. We're just gonna rip this off. Rip off the tail. There we go. Name of the game, simple spreads. You know, it works. This one here, my series tracker, again, very simple. It's a little different than my other ones, but I continued keeping the series I'm focusing on in 2024 weird extended titles in there. But this specific spread, I was inspired by a creator that I saw on TikTok do this exact like dotted line around with series tracker like that, and the dots in the middle. So I will leave that creator on the screen because this is not my idea, this is theirs. And I've seen a lot of people do series trackers with this dot method. So I just filled in, I blacked out the dots or the books in the series that I have already read. And then the ones that I haven't yet read, I will color in with a color as I read them. This one I left blank because it's 2024 stats. I will fill that in later in 2024 when I decide to do so and how I want to do it. And then of course we have January, which I have not yet done, and I think I'm gonna save for another time because I have been sitting here since noon and we are losing daylight rapidly outside. It is 4:45 now. So, hello friends. I did end up finishing that January spread on my own time, but I figured I'd show you, and I figured, you know, I'd kind of flip through and show you just kind of little things that I've tweaked and changed. There really hasn't been that many things, trust me, but I figured why not have a little flip through. Here, the 2024 releases for books, I went through and added them, whether I pre-ordered them or if I got them from the library. And some of them I've requested from the library, but it hasn't yet come in. So they are just little boxes for myself. And then these ones near the end, I just haven't done anything with. I will decide whether I'm going to pre-order it or get it through the library. These two are probably going to be pre-orders if I'm being real, but these are all the ones. And then of course I ended up deciding, this is penciled, but this is Will of the Many, which I'm currently reading. So it's probably going to be my W for my ABC challenge. We love to see that when I'm finished it. And then here, I don't know what the hell happened with the glue here, but it got really weird. And now it's just a big mark across the page, but that's fine. These are all the books that my friends picked
in the 12 racks from Friends. Love that. And I will be doing little book covers. Of course, these bad boys. And then here is my January spread. So because I'm still missing that little stamp kit, I'm going to do a stamp for the words here TBR, or the letters TBR. And then I'm going to do another stamp thing for January across the top. But yeah, and then the TBR kind of falls both on these. I don't know if I love this a whole lot, but I like the look of this page. That's fine. We're going to see if these stats are good for me for tracking. I tried to think of like what I do in my bookish wrap-ups, if I do them, what I cover. So thought that would be kind of fun. These are just the January stats, and I will start doing the books when I start finishing the reads. But yeah, this is the January page. I'm gonna leave this video here. Let me know if you want to see flip throughs throughout the year. I don't know, like, because any more content with book journaling would just be like a flip through or a like plan with me, like a month with me, a month spread, I guess. We could do that if you guys wanted, but I'm not sure. But that is kind of what I do. I look across Pinterest for examples. I've looked through TikTok for creators doing reading journals and spreads from them. And that's kind of how I decided which spreads I was going to use if I hadn't used them before, like my goals tracker and my bookshelf, of course, things like that. Because I had more pages to work with this time, because I'm doing a book journal separately from my actual bullet journal, I was really excited to experiment, and we'll see how the trackers and how these spreads work throughout the year and how much I actually use them. I'm definitely going to keep using the ones that I've, used before, because I've used them before. I've used them for years. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to have a little bit more of a clean spread for some of these and just a little bit more of an interesting spread for others. But yes, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in another video very, very soon. And stay kind and keep on journaling, I guess? I don't know. Bye.